Hey everyone, and welcome. So, today we're going to tackle a word you've probably heard thrown around a lot lately, neurodiversity. We're going to break down what it is, what it isn't, and why it matters. And let's just get right to it. The big question on everyone's mind. Is being neurodivergent the same thing as having a mental health condition? It's a common point of confusion, but I promise by the end of this, the answer is going to be crystal clear. Okay, so let's dive in. The best way to get our heads around neurodiversity is with a really simple, but honestly pretty brilliant analogy. Think of biodiversity, but for our brains. So picture this. What if our brains were like building blocks? Like Legos. You've got all these different colors, different shapes, different sizes. And yeah, they're different, but is a red brick better than a blue one? Of course not. They just are. They serve different purposes, and you need all of them to build something interesting. So, what's the official story here? Well, the term itself was coined back in the 90s by a sociologist named Judy Singer, and her idea was actually pretty simple. These neurological differences we see in people, they're just a natural, normal part of human variation, kind of like having different eye colors or being left-handed. It's not a flaw, it's just a different way of being. Okay, so when we talk about being neurodivergent, what are we actually talking about? Well, it's a broad umbrella that includes conditions you've probably heard of, like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, Tourette syndrome, and a bunch of others too. These are basically conditions that shape how the brain develops and handles information right from the get-go. And look, this is not some tiny niche group of people we're talking about. In the UK, for instance, some studies suggest that about 1 in 7 people are neurodivergent. Think about that for a second. That's a huge part of our schools, our workplaces, our communities. And this brings us right back to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? It's all about getting this one absolutely critical distinction, the line between a difference and a disorder. And honestly, the difference is simple, but it's profound. Think of it this way. Neurodivergent traits, they're baked into the hardware. They're innate, lifelong. It's like your brain is running on Mac OS while most others are on Windows. It's just a different operating system. Now, mental health conditions, they're more like software. They can affect anyone on any operating system at any time. It's a fluctuating state of well-being, not the core wiring of the machine itself. So, to put a fine point on it, and this isn't just an opinion, this is coming from health organizations, they're making it super clear. Neurodevelopmental conditions like autism and ADHD are not mental health conditions. Simple as that. It's a different way of being. Okay, so if they're separate things, then why do they seem to overlap so much? This is where the story gets really, really important. We have to talk about the cost of trying to fit in. I mean, let's be real for a second. The world we live in, our schools, our offices, even just the unspoken rules of how to have a conversation, it's pretty much all designed for and by neurotypical people, the most common brain type. And if your brain isn't wired that way, it can feel like you're constantly swimming against the current. And that constant pressure leads to this thing called masking. It's when someone who's neurodivergent basically has to hide or suppress their natural tendencies just to seem more, normal or socially acceptable. And you can just imagine how exhausting that is. It's like wearing a heavy costume all day, every day. It's not just tiring. It can be incredibly damaging to your mental health and sense of who you are. And that strain, that constant masking, it has very real, measurable consequences. The data is pretty clear on this. Neurodivergent folks experience things like anxiety and depression at way higher rates. Take this in. Up to half of all autistic people might also experience depression. And this is the key point. It's not because autism is depression. It's because of the incredible stress of trying to navigate a world that wasn't built for you. So where do we go from here? What's the solution? Well, it's not about finding a cure. It's about a massive shift in how we think. We need to move away from curing the person and move towards accommodating the environment. Here's the best analogy I've ever heard for this, and it's so simple. I'm nearsighted. Without my glasses, I'm pretty much disabled in the modern world. But do we say my eyes are disordered? Do we try to cure me? No. We give me glasses and accommodation. And suddenly the problem is gone. The issue was never my eyes themselves. It was the lack of a simple tool. The neurodiversity movement is basically saying, let's treat brain differences the exact same way. So what do those glasses look like for neurodiversity? It means building environments that are inclusive for everyone. This could be as simple as adopting an office space so it's not a sensory nightmare, or just being really clear and direct in how we communicate. It's about creating flexible routines that don't assume everyone's brain works on the exact same schedule.
And this is so important to understand. Pushing for acceptance of brain differences does not mean we ignore the very real struggles and challenges people face. These two things are not at odds. You can absolutely celebrate and value someone for their unique way of thinking and, at the same time, provide them with all the support and services they need to navigate their challenges. It's not one or the other.
And that really brings us to the final big idea here. What if the goal isn't to change neurodivergent people to fit our world? What if the goal is to change the world to fit all of us?